Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics. Yeah, I'd just like to remind you, Sam, that that's actually a camera you're looking into and not a mirror, mate. You know?
My hair's so big and everywhere. I'm trying to get it out my bloody face. How you doing? All right.
Your little Alice band over there, you know, it's a Drewling Semantics Alice band, you know.
We're at merchandise already, are we? We're going to start getting branded
I think so. Yeah, let's not do t-shirts. Let's do Sam and Drewling Semantics hair bands. Excuse me.
Lovely. I mean, it'd be no good doing merchandise based on us because we'd have to have extra small and extra long, and there'd be nothing in between. Yeah. So
no,
but yeah. Anyway, hello, mate. All right.
Anyway, good to see you. Hang on a minute. I'll just get the necessary.
There we are. Cheers.
Cheers to another week.
But and anyway, no good taking the piss out of me and my hair. After what you were sporting last week, your bloody hat you had on.
Oh, I've still got it here. I mean, if you want me to wear it
again. No. You had your 1 week of wearing your balloon crown. That is enough.
Another 10 weeks until we get to 20 episodes. Then I can put another one on.
That's the next one, is it? 20, we're going to... The balloon crown. If it survives that long, I'll be quite impressed. So...
Oh, I shall have another one freshly made.
Oh, lovely. If she hasn't left you by then because you're so immersed in your current one or whatever, but
yeah, there we go.
Anyway, how's things been, mate? What have you been up to?
I have had a reasonably quiet week this week. It's been quite nice. Had a self-tape at the beginning of the week to do, which was unusual. Most of the time I was playing a cat, so less said about that the better. But it was a very strange little script that necessitated me spending some time on a couch dressed as a cat or cobbled together a cat suit. And don't worry about it. I don't think I've got it, but it was a very sweet little script.
I mean, if you do, this is certainly going to be something that needs to go out to the world. I mean, we need to share it. Yeah.
But no, it was a guy who was into. He wanted to be a cat. He was looking for a cat sitter, and the story is how he's a lonely man, and the guy that comes to cat sit is a lonely guy. There's no sort of fetish or any sexual content. It's just two lonely guys. One guy liked cats, and one guy liked to be a cat. And that was the story.
It's intriguing.
Probably killing someone's script here, but whoever I have not mentioned anything. But I would just like to say, if the person that wrote it associates me with that and blah, it's a bloody lovely little script. There you go. So I shot that. And then the rest of the week I've been writing. I'm writing a short story for Jungle Monkeys Jungle Adventure this weekend because wife and I have got one of our Zoom shows, or one of her Zoom shows, musical balloon band, Donkey Dot's children's show on Saturday morning on Zoom, followed by a Jungle Monkey story. So I shall be in my Jungle Drew mode this weekend. So yeah, I've been writing that, which is nice.
Which means you're sporting another bloody hat, doesn't it?
Yes, I'll be in my pith helmet. I have to say that right. Yeah.
Very well. You know. Yeah. But a couple more, and it'll be a completely different helmet.
A couple more.
If we have a few more beers. Yeah.
A little slurp, and come on now, swallow, and tell me what you've been up to this week.
I'm just gonna let that pass. I could have. It's too early in the episode for us to get to that sort of sordid. Yeah. Anyway,
I said nothing.
No, you just cue them up and try and tempt me to. Yeah. There we go. Anyway, so I've had a nice varied week. So kicked off fairly early on with some voiceover as always. A little bit of a commercial voiceover, which is great. And actually, I got back to this week doing one of my various random jobs that I do as a performer, or I certainly started to do in the last sort of year or two. I work for a company who do immersive escape room games, and they have a premises where they do these, but they also do them online. So it's something fairly new, which came in almost immediately after lockdown started, or just before. I think maybe they were anticipating something, but essentially it's they're designed as team building exercises or games where companies can purchase the game as a whole or whatever, and then their employees log in to a certain link on Zoom and they become secret agents, or they become members of an agency trying to save the world, and they have various different missions that they have to take part in, and it's all done over Zoom. Very, very clever system, and it's hosted by the mysterious Agent 12, who I've appeared as this week. So yeah, a really fun and different sort of angle. Certainly one that lets me stretch my legs as an actor, metaphorically, and allows me to play a really cool, kind of gritty and interesting character. But again, from the comfort of my own home in my studio.
Your own home.
But that was great fun. I love doing those, and it's it's almost sort of like a little bit of a modern day Crystal Maze meets James Bond Mission Impossible kind of thing. So really quite cool. So yeah, I've had a really fun week doing stuff like that.
Great stuff. They've become really popular, haven't they? I mean, everything's become popular on over Zoom and that recently, but I mean, those have really taken off. I've done a couple of escape rooms in the past. The actual ones. They're really good fun. But I haven't done a Zoom one yet, so I might do an online one. Just have an explore of that.
Well, I'll send you a link, mate. You'll have to jump on in.
Yeah, send me a link, and I'll watch you as Agent 12.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very.
But it's fascinating, isn't it? I mean, like you said, one of your varied jobs that you do. I mean, I know we've had this discussion in the past about different things, but who'd have thought? We would be here where we are. 18 months ago, but also I would never have thought when I first started out that I would be doing the variety that I do. Do you know what I mean? I
guess you have a vision and sort of go, right, well, I'm going to, I don't know about you. It wasn't quite the same for me. My background, and a lot of people do that. I never necessarily set out to be an actor, but perhaps from your perspective, as that's how you trained, you kind of went, right, I'm going to be a Shakespearean actor. I'm going to be on the stage. That's going to be my career, which at no point would you have thought. I mean, let's face it. Back then, in the dark ages, computers didn't exist, so you wouldn't have anticipated anything like this.
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. Now you've raised the point, but no, it's true. I mean, I don't come from I don't know about yourself, but I don't come from a theatrical background at all. I mean, there's sportsmen in my family. I've got a distant cousin who's a musician.
Yeah,
but I think that's the only. Certainly before me, I now have another cousin who is a director, but I don't think that's any consequence of my being in the business. She and I both, at different times, obviously decided we were going to, come into the business. And yeah, you're right. I started off thinking when I was around about I think it was around about 12, 13, you go, what do I want to do? And I'd always, I suppose, played class clown to deflect from the fact that I was a little guy and I used to get a little bit bullied. So until I learned to hit back, I used to deflect it with laughter, and I was quite good at that, and I could entertain. And I think that's then thought I really like this. I like being the center of attention. And I, long story short, said to my parents, that's what I want to do. My father was very, very, very encouraging and supportive. So I joined a local children's or a young person's drama workshop, Luton Youth Drama Workshop. And it was, and I was really lucky because I had a wonderful teacher who, without her, I probably would not have made it to a drama school, or maybe not as good a drama school as I did. And then, but I was very like, I want to be an actor, maybe on stage, maybe television, maybe films. But then, it's, as we all know, it's just blossomed. The amount of work that has appeared over, certainly over the past 10 years, it's extraordinary,
there are so many different outlets and things, and I guess it's quite interesting that there will be people out there, if there are still people out there listening and watching. I'm sure you are still there. Hello, everyone.
There are.
Yes. There will be people out there who are in the same career, who are also in the industry, who will have various different stories about how they got into it, what they set out to do, whether this was their primary goal, or whether it was just something that sort of happened to them, as is sort of more my case, whereas yours was sort of directional. And there also may be people out there who are kind of thinking, well, I would love to be a performer. I do want to get into the industry. How do I go about it? And I guess there's no right or wrong answer to that. And we are a perfect example of that, because our roots in are so different. Exactly. So
yeah, I mean, there are lots of again, we've mentioned this before, there are lots of different actors forums on on all the social media, and conversations are sparked like, do you have to go to drama school? Do you have to have this? Can you learn your craft in amateur theatre? And what I mean, there's no right or wrong way. It's like, as you say, I think a lot of people deride amateur theatre, and they say it's well, it is what it is, and if it produces a good actor, then there's nothing bad, and if people go and watch amateur theatre and enjoy it, what's wrong with that? I don't think, I don't think you can replace one with the other or compare them. It's two different sets of people,
Yeah.
I did a lot. I did quite a bit of amateur theatre when I was young, when I was about 16, 17. I did lots of amateur theatre because I knew nothing about theatre. I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know how the building itself worked. So working backstage and learning about a little bit about the lights and scenery and set and that, when I went to drama school, I was like that little bit more informed than maybe some other people. I maybe wasn't as well informed as others, but it certainly helped. So that,
of course, yeah,
I would never knock amateur theatre. And also there are lots of little theatres around the country that are kept open by their amateur companies.
We've referenced it before, haven't we? And I think I'm sure you'll agree. I know personally, I've seen amateur productions which have blown me away, and then seen professional productions which I wouldn't go and see again, shall we say? So
no.
Just because it's got that moniker saying this is a cast who have been paid to be here, that doesn't mean that automatically makes them better, because there will be some of the greatest actors this country or the world has ever seen who have started in amateur theatre. So they may well have been at the top of their game then as much as they are now, or had been in the future. And they just happened to be performing in an outlet where they weren't doing it as a job. It was more a hobby or a way.
Yeah.
So you can never discount that. But as we said, I think amateur theatre is a great opener. It's a way to experience how theatres work or how performing works, and as you say, learn bits that you perhaps wouldn't by jumping straight into to drama school or whatever. And I think it is massively valuable. Both of us have spent a lot of time, or previously spent a lot of time, doing amateur theatre, amateur dramatics.
Yeah.
And it hugely helped. And also, speaking personally, and I'm sure you'll agree, increased your love for the craft and the want to do it more. I think.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me, I always wanted to, I say always, when I got to that age, I knew what I wanted to do, and I've never wavered from that. And I saw people that I remember doing one show. I did a production of Calamity Jane, and there was a guy in that sat. I mean, he just had a fabulous voice, and it was like, as soon as he opened his mouth, and there was that point of everyone went, why didn't you go professional? Why aren't you a professional? You would work. And he said, I like doing what I'm doing. I like my job and I love doing this. And I can't remember what he did, but professionally speaking, but he just said, I love this. This is it. He said, if I had to push all the time to do this, if he said if it would be, he said I would lose my love of doing. He said
Yeah.
I can do this without, and he said I can do this without any feeling of responsibility. He said if I had to fight for the work, if I had to fight for it, he said it may diminish my love. He said, and that's why I do, I live, I do the amateur work, and I kind of understood that because I was the other way. I went, no, I want to just do that.
Yeah.
I want to just, I want the uncertainty and the challenge of that. I spent my youth. I know. I spent my youth, reading, biographies of actors and how they'd struggled, and and I thought maybe naively, I thought, yeah, I can do that, and I suppose to a degree I have, because I do earn my living, however big my bank balance might be, it is all derived from, doing what I love. And going to drama school at that time for me was the way I understood how to get into the business, and the way my father said, I think that's the way you're going to have to do this. And we sat down, and he was amazing, my dad, because he sat down and, we went through university prospectuses and drama school, learning, looking what would suit me. I auditioned for the drama schools I thought would suit my personality. And that was the way I went to start off, And I met some people that in amateur theatre, that professional directors that came in to direct some of the shows. And they were very encouraging. There was one guy that had been an actor and now worked in radio, but he loved to direct. And he, I say this was 1970 something or other. And, he was fabulous and really, really inspiring. I didn't have a particularly big part. He directed Calamity Jane. I didn't have a particularly big part in it, but I watched him and learned from him and watched him how he directed. And I thought, yeah, this is why I want to do it, and he understood, and he said, yeah, don't, if you have that mentality, you want to do it. He said, you'll kick yourself if you don't try.
And I think that's very much, although longer down the process for me, and with a completely different starting point, that's what changed in my background. So I also enjoyed performing very much and was involved in the amateur scene to an extent, but mainly school stuff. So I was involved in the drama clubs at school and did bits like that. And then went on to, as our listeners and viewers know, because I've mentioned it before, went on to a technical side and did a degree and studied at college and then at university to do the technical side of things, but discovered more and more that I missed performing, having not done a huge amount, but the bits I had done, they were very much my fondest memories. So I started to think, well, what do I do about this? And it coincided weirdly with being told about this opportunity to be part of a tribute band, which I auditioned for and got into, because I'm classically trained musician, so I play clarinet, saxophone, and sing. So I had that performance in my background, and had done some movement stuff to do with musicals and other things that I'd been in at school. So that kind of almost made sense. And it was a chance encounter with a neighbour who we knew very well, who mentioned their son that ran a band, etc., etc. Long story short, auditioned and got in and did this year of touring, which was unbelievable. I enjoyed it so much. I felt like, because I was being paid for it, and I felt all of a sudden I was being paid to have fun, and it felt like this weird kind of is this really a job? Because I love it so much, and not to the extent where it would cost me money, but I would have done it without the pay because I enjoyed it so much. But the pay was just that extra cherry on the cake to say, you know what, I can actually have a career that I love and want to keep progressing in and keep doing and get paid for it. Like, unbelievable. That sadly came to an end sooner than I wanted it to. The band I joined had been together for a few years, and they'd kind of reached a point where, do you know what, we've done everything we can with this, and now would be a good time to end. Whereas I was sort of still on the up and going, oh my God, this is amazing. Let's keep it going. So that kind of ended, and I found myself at a loss again. And I'd continued an office job for the NHS while I was performing and touring with them. But so that carried on when the band ended. And I happened to work with someone who was also a performer. She was a fairly successful singer. And she mentioned about like online agencies where you represent yourself and you look for work. We've mentioned a few of them before. So I joined up to a few of those, and all of a sudden I was completely like immersed in this world, and I was applying for things and getting auditions for things. And I landed a couple of student films and short films, which were great, low pay, but it was being paid again to do something I really enjoyed. Yeah. And then I also got a couple of charity gigs, which involved a combination of all sorts of things: singing, dancing, presenting, acting. And I just, the love grew and grew. And the more I did it, the more I realized I want to be doing this. This is what I want to do as a career. Yeah. But at that stage, it certainly couldn't sustain me financially. So that's my start, which obviously is a very, very different starting point to you. So I ended up pursuing it because what else I was doing wasn't satisfying me, or I wasn't enjoying as much. Whereas I guess for you, there was one route and one route only. This is what I know I want to do. This is what I can only see myself doing this. So hence the drama school route for you. You. Whereas by the time I decided I wanted to do it, I could have gone to drama school, but I'd already done further education. So financially, it wasn't even something I could consider, because I was just about getting by with a full-time job and hobbies of performing. Whereas if I then had to go into full-time education, God knows how I would have got by. So drama school was never really a consideration for me. And I think. Oh.
Sorry. No, I was lucky. I got a form of grant, and my parents helped me. I did do summer jobs and evening jobs and all sorts of things to keep me at drama school, but I think nowadays that is one of the considerations, that it is extraordinarily expensive to any further university and stuff is extraordinarily expensive. Frog in the throat. But also you don't have to go to drama school now.
No.
There are, and you don't have to pay an awful lot of money. There are fantastic university courses, and it's a long while since I've looked at what drama schools there are, but no need to. But I do know from working, and you meet people that they've just left, just graduated, or whatever, and you go, wow, there's so much training out there. Some of that is, maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know that there's so much. But,
I don't know. It's hard to sort of to say, isn't it? So I don't have the knowledge of drama schools in that how they operate and the philosophy and the kind of way of life being at one. Obviously, there are a few big names. People will have heard of the likes of RADA and Mount View and various other big schools out there that they kind of carry, in the same way that big universities, Oxford, Cambridge, Imperial, carry this quite elevated kind of power, shall we say. And there's almost an assumption that if you've got that on a CV, that you're getting a step up. And I don't think that's the case so much as it previously has been.
Certainly when I was at drama school, there were a dozen, what they call at that time, accredited drama schools. They were the ones to aim for. There were then a sort of second tier of drama schools, and they were like, okay, they're not as good, but they're good.
Yeah.
And then there were the others. And I think now there are because there was, and it really was the others. And some of the others were very good. They just hadn't, they hadn't got the exposure. They hadn't got the number of students. They hadn't had a student come out to make a really big film to put their drama school on the map.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I said there are so many different sorts of jobs and so many ways of working in the industry that drama schools and training schools, educational facilities have cropped up to support that. There are great dance schools because dance and musical theatre is far more popular and prevalent than it was when I was training. And so there are great stage schools, there are great musical schools, musical theatre schools, drama schools that push one sort of angle of performance and courses at. I mean, my wife is visiting lecturer, voice coach at Central, and they have several departments, with actors and performers, stage management, directors, all choosing that department as their main strength. But they all sort of bleed and go into each other's departments because we know it's not just a one skill business,
No,
and like we said at the beginning,
I think that certainly has grown from perhaps your time at drama school. Now, as you say, there are certainly schools that specialize a lot more. So you can go to a dance or like theatre-based dance college or theatre school. And as you say, there are a lot of universities now who are a university that offers multiple different subjects. So you could go and do maths, you could go and do English, but also you could go and do drama, or you could go and do acting for film, or there are so many different little outlets. And I think it's broadened the routes people take in. And I think it's a lot, not easier, but I think there are more options when it comes to training now.
Yeah. I mean, and that's no bad thing, because as like you say, there are so many disciplines that, I mean, I worked with someone a little while ago, and they had done, as they said, I couldn't afford to go to a drama school. I couldn't afford the time to take up full education because that person was married. They had children to look after. They had a partner. So they took small courses, did a 3-month course, something they could do, some of the course they were doing at home. And they built themselves over 2 years a really comprehensive, drama education.
Yeah.
Said person was very, very good performer as well. And you went, and the drive and the dedication to do that was incredible. And I tip my hat to them because they were incredible. And they, and that's, I mean, it's like, it's like amateur theatre. It's like the people that do that love it, and they have a day job and then they do an evening job. Exactly the same with this actor. They had a family, a day job, and an evening job. Sometimes they had a day job, they were training during the day, they went back to their family at night, but it paid off because they had a contract, and they started to work. And I was immensely proud of that. But it just goes to show you can sit and do different courses, different things. You and I do different things to
absolutely
to polish up skills. And
I think I think the resounding message behind all this is, like we said at the beginning, there is no right or wrong way of going about it. And don't think just because you can't afford to go to drama school that is your dream scuppered, or don't think just because you're not at the biggest named, as you say, accredited drama schools that going and getting a degree somewhere else means that you'll never have big successes or that you'll never enjoy your career. None of that is anything to hold you back. And if you are just starting out in the industry and right now it's a hobby and you're doing amateur theatre, then you're doing everything right. You've just got to keep pushing yourself. And if you're enjoying doing something, then embrace it and go with it. And just look at all the different options that are available to you. And actually bear in mind that things like age and ability and everything else that goes into making you are all completely irrelevant. There is no right time to start it. There is no right place to be in the country or anything like that. So
you took the words out of my mouth, because I mean that you do meet. There is no right or wrong time to start. I mean, and people do. I mean, a friend of mine has, she'd been in the business years ago, left to have a family, and now has come back into the business. So you can start, stop, whatever. It's and as you said, there are no right or wrong ways, because every actor is an individual. and I do see, as I said, on some of the, the social media platforms, you get people saying, should I do this? Should I do that? Well, yeah, we can offer you people can ask your questions and offer you advice. But at the end of the day, it is down to you to go, okay, I think that's right for me. I feel comfortable doing that, and that's the right way. That's the right way.
All we can do is say, this is my story. This is what I did. In your case, you wanted to be an actor. You trained as an actor. You became an actor. In my case, I enjoyed acting. I did some boring day jobs. They weren't enough for me. I found little ways to get into the industry and grew and got to a point where I could go, right, now this is what I'm going to do to sustain myself. And that worked for me. Two completely different entries into this world of performing, but we're both here now and we both still love absolutely what we do. And do I suffer because I haven't trained? No. Do you miss out on things because you only went that one route in? No, there is no right and wrong answer. You've just got to make sure that what you're doing feels right for you, and the end goal is something that you really want to achieve. I think that's the
I think you're right. I think it is. Yeah, it's what works for you. I think you did talk about earning a living. I can remember my first job after drama. I can remember I got the contract. I got the equity contract, which was sort of printed off on you remember the printer paper with all little dots down the side. It was printed off on one of those, about matrix. 4 or 5 different copies. I was signing them and sending them off, and I just remember sitting there, and I remember £87.50 was my first wage for the job I was doing. And I think there was I can't remember how much it was, but there was subsistence on top of that as well. So I think I got just over 100 quid was my first. And that was many years ago, mate. I just remember saying earning a living at it. It
was £100 notes, wasn't it? It was that long.
Yeah. We did. We got paid in the little brown envelopes, the little brown wages envelopes in cash.
Wow.
Because and then I used to go to my digs and pay my landlady out of that, and go and put some money in the bank, and then they were going, oh, the rest is mine.
Amazing,
brilliant,
amazing.
But that was
But so anyone out there listening or watching that is trying to get into the industry, do what feels right for you. There is no right or wrong way to go about it. Just make sure that you are pursuing it with the love and passion that you need to be to succeed, because it is a hard slog. And it never gets easy. You can never sit back on your laurels and just go, well, let's let it happen. But just enjoy yourself on the way in, I think is and right now I can say that I fully still love every moment of my job, and I'm sure you're the same. So.
I do, I mean, it is relentless, and sometimes you go, I don't have, like, this week has been a quiet week. I haven't got much work on this week, but the previous 3-4 months have been very busy, given the situation that we've been in. So you can't complain,
No. And speaking of,
I must admit,
go on. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, I must admit, when I did first start out, I had no idea that I would be doing all those little strands like the escape rooms, and sitting here with me mate, having a beer and chatting away, and thinking, this is a podcast. I mean, who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought?
But we never had internet in my day, mobile.
We'd both be at a typewriter and sending pictures of ourselves via Canvas. But
please don't. Yes, chipping on a stone. Yes.
Anyway, I was going to say, speaking of still loving every moment, what have you got coming up this week that you're going to love and enjoy?
I've got some more writing coming up, and I think I've got. I'm going to look at my diary, because I've got some things coming up. Oh, that's it. Now this will interest you. I'm going to start some swimming lessons. That's what I'm starting. I'm getting fit. I'm on a fitness campaign. Wow. So yes, I'm going to start, because I'm coming out of and I don't, you being Mr. expert swimmer and all that, with your international championship past or whatever it was. But no, I'm a reluctant and rubbish swimmer. So I'm going to start some swimming lessons, and I can swim. I just don't like getting wet. So
the two tend to go together. That's the problem.
Well, I know therein lies the problem. You see, so but no, I'm gonna bite the bullet. That's what this. I'm starting some swimming lessons. I'm going to continue with the writing. I want to get some more stories written, and just see what the week brings. Really, it's. I don't have after mammoth weeks of running around like a mad thing. It's fairly quiet, so I'm quite kind of enjoying just sitting back. I'm also learning. I've got a new camera, to take some video stuff and to use. So I'm going to get technical as well with that this week. Start filming some stuff.
That can only end badly.
It depends where I point my lens. And on that note, what are you doing this week, mate?
So I've got another escape room game, which I'm
brilliant.
really excited about. Genuinely love doing those. And then just a bit of prepping for everything else, really. Nothing massive set in stone this week. But also preparing for next week's show, because next week's show is pretty special. We got another guest.
Yay!
Yeah. And as we've alluded to over, I think we did in last episode and previous, very exciting guest next week.
I think so. I think
very different route and another side of the industry. Cannot wait to speak to this person. So,
it's going to be good fun. Very good fun.
Absolutely. And I guess also reveling in the fact that we had our celebratory 10th episode last week. And had such a great response again. So we sound like a broken record, but genuinely mean it every time. Thank you so much, everyone out there, for listening and watching. Please do continue to download and listen to the podcast. Watch us on YouTube and all the social medias as well. We love the interactions on there. So please do follow, comment, share, like on Instagram, Twitter, and what's the other one? I always miss one. Facebook. There we go.
Facebook.
So please do get involved. And we love to hear your feedback and your comments and everything else. So, but yeah,
it's a very warm feeling after 10 episodes that our numbers are growing and our downloads are growing. So thank you very much, everyone.
Absolutely.
It's very heartening. Very heartening.
Here we are, episode 11. And who knows what's to come? But next week, don't miss it. Great guest.
No, it's a good one. Yeah. It's quite exciting next week.
It is indeed. And I'm looking forward to speaking to you next week as well, Drew. So.
And of course, Sam. Of course. Yeah.
So have a cracking week, and I'll see you very soon.
I will do, mate. Yeah. Cheers,
Bye,
buddy.
all at home. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you again soon. Cheers.
See you soon.
Thanks again for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode of Drewling Samantics.
If you have, then please consider subscribing and you'll get notified every time a new episode is released. The podcast is available on all good platforms or directly through our RSS feed. Just check the podcast details.
You can also find us on all popular social media, and you can even watch us on YouTube, although why you'd want to look at Drew's face is a mystery to me. Again, all our social media links and handles are in the podcast details.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so please share with your family and friends, and we'll be eternally grateful. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.